After starting in Kansas City, Operation Legend expanded to Chicago 2 weeks later and is now active in 9 major cities. As part of the operation, the federal government has dispatched over 1,000 of our most skilled agents to help state and local law enforcement fight violent crime. Over the past 2 months, federal agents involved in Operation Legend have made more than 2,500 arrests, many for violent crimes, including homicide and sexual assault. One of these arrests came on August 13th, when Kansas City police, with the support of the FBI and the U.S. Marshals, arrested the suspected murderer of Legend Taliaferro, the 4-year-old boy who inspired the operation's name. With the federal law enforcement system, we have stronger penalties, and we're also able to detain these people before trial when they pose a threat to the community, whereas the state law hasn't been providing that protection.
We are seeing some really encouraging results on Operation Legend, specifically in Chicago. In fact, the homicide rate has gone down 50%. So in the first 4 weeks that Operation Legend was in Chicago, the homicide rate went down 50% as compared to the previous 4 weeks in Kansas City, and that's where we launched Operation Legend. Violent crime has been reduced by a third, with aggravated assault going down 47%.
Trafficking of methamphetamine poses a major danger to our communities, and the federal government is determined to disrupt, dismantle, and destroy the violent drug trafficking organizations that place profits over human lives. And we're fortunate to work alongside, here in Arizona and elsewhere, state and local partners that share our commitment to this important mission.
Criminals who engage in drug trafficking fuel the epidemic of addiction in our country and profit from it, while feeding the violence that is plaguing so many of our communities. They terrorize the neighborhoods where they operate, forcing residents to live in fear that their children and family members will be shot in the crossfire. That's why DEA is committed to working with our federal, state, and local law enforcement partners every day to disrupt, dismantle, and destroy drug trafficking organizations.
Today, the Criminal Division's Fraud Section, along with our law enforcement partners on this stage and elsewhere in this room, are announcing that as a result of law enforcement operations over the course of the last few days, and in fact over the course of the last few hours, the Criminal Division has now criminally charged more than 50 people who allegedly committed fraud to obtain money from the Paycheck Protection Program.
Two weeks ago, I had the honor of visiting the Gang Impact Unit where Jim served as part of the FBI task force in Operation Legend. As a veteran officer, he didn't have to take on that dangerous mission. He could have let someone else do it, especially given the risks to police officers nowadays. But once again, he volunteered, and once again, he made a difference. I witnessed firsthand the superb work that he and his colleagues were doing to get violent criminals off the streets. Fortunately, I didn't know Jim personally, but in a sense, I do know Jim. I know him well because I know the strength of character, the decency, the courage, and the commitment, which, although too uncommon in society generally, are common virtues in the ranks of America's police. Jim represents what is great and good about our police. As has been said, he was a policeman's policeman. He epitomized the greatness of our police.